Good evening, all. It is 6:30 p.m. It is Monday, November 10th, 2025. This is the Committee of the Whole meeting. We're going to do a little bit of a pivot here, and let's jump to, I have our Public Services Director, Scott Connors. I'm going to call him up. So we have two things on the consent agenda for tonight. One is the DTE easement for over by Harmon Park, and the other is the Collindale and O'Brien Pump Station easement. So if you take away, just give us the background of both, and let's take these one at a time in case there's questions from the commissioners.
We've had lots of exciting topics to talk about lately. These are not two of those exciting topics. The good news is that DTE is going to be redoing a large portion of their gas transmission main through the city here over the next couple of years. And in doing that, they're trying to minimize the impact on some of the residential neighborhoods. And they have looked at a 50-foot wide piece of property at the back of 144 Sunset Hills. And that is property that we acquired in a tax sale. It was part of the original development there with Daylily and Rosebud. It was called Trivan LLC. So we've acquired that. It's adjacent to Harmon Park now. We don't really see any harm in this easement. The good part is that, getting our gas infrastructure up to speed seems fairly important, and we don't want to turn that opportunity down. So we would ask that you take a look at that request tonight and consider that easement.
Commissioners, questions or discussion on it? Pretty cut and dry. Mr. City Manager, anything else to add to it?
No, I was just talking to Scott previously. I noticed we had a communication from DTE this afternoon about wanting to update us on their South Walker pipeline upgrades for next year. So I'm guessing this is part of that whole package that they want to meet and discuss. So, but otherwise, I have no issue. I think it's kind of a piece of the property that we own that probably not going to be utilized for anything else, and upgrading the infrastructure would be great, especially for those residents.
All right. See no further discussion. Let's jump to Collindale and O'Brien then, please.
Okay. So if you look around the city at some of our pump stations, we own most of the properties where we have those sanitary lift stations. So gravity sewer flows down to those stations, and then the lift station then pumps it up into a force main and gets it to another gravity sewer, eventually ending up downtown. So Collindale is one of those stations. You can see it right from the road. It's on City of Walker property, but it's maintained by the City of Grand Rapids. And in the past, that's been fine. It's been a good relationship. We're still in a great partnership, but it does create some issues sometimes when they have contractors go out to the site to do work. And so they're starting to methodically now go through some of these properties and get easements from us. And we did debate this quite a bit back and forth. Ultimately, we're partners with them in the utility district, and it makes sense for us to put an easement on the limits of the pump station, in this case at Collindale.
Commissioners, questions, discussions for Scott? All right.
So we may see a few more. I'm sorry.
Go right in.
So it's drafted by Grand Rapids. I'm assuming that you're all good with that, and we don't need our legal to look at the easement.
It's the same language they always use, so we're comfortable with that. And again, as a partner, Daryl and I participate in the Utility Advisory Board and work closely with Grand Rapids. We feel like we're all in this together.
Okay. All right.
Now, we may see a few more of these coming around for different pump stations where we own it as they begin to clean up, but this is one that's active right now for some maintenance, and so we wanted to make sure that it was addressed first.
All right, Commissioners, any other discussion? All right, seeing, hearing none, I think we're good on these at 7 o'clock then.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right, let's get our manager, commissioner comments out of the way. Madam Clerk, I'll slide over your way first.
Sure, thank you. So we had election last Tuesday. We had 4,103 votes were cast on Tuesday. We landed at about just shy of 21% turnout, which is larger than we did anticipate for a small local election. We didn't have any issues throughout the city. Everything ran smooth. We did hear from our chair people at all of our precincts. Our residents came in, did their thing, and were on their way. So no issues at any precincts, which is great.
Awesome. Well done. Thank you. All right, Commissioner Gilbert?
Just a couple things. Good mobility and infrastructure meeting. Got a good lay of the land of what the plan is going into this fiscal year for public works, and as far as park improvements, street overlays, and sidewalks and trails. So really appreciated that. Thank you, Scott, for helping put that together. Good personnel meeting, another productive conversation, and in good, quick, expedient order. And then the last thing I'll just quickly mention is had a rapid finance committee meeting. State of our pension there is just incredible. So really an aspirational goal to get all public pension funds to where that is at.
All right, well said. Thank you. Commissioner Babcock?
I agree with Steve on the mobility and infrastructure and personnel committee meetings. Additionally, we had a public safety meeting where they presented the public space needs study, which was very interesting to see, a lot to think about. So we'll be meeting again next month to talk about that a little bit more on what it looks like for the future. But again, very exciting to kind of see the possibilities of our current buildings and what they could be in the future to kind of grow with where we're going with full-time firefighter staffing and that kind of stuff. So also I attended last Wednesday the combined Planning Commission, CBA, and City Commission master planning session. I guess by nature I am an information person, and I like to digest information before meetings. So my only feedback is I understand why they didn't send that out before, but I feel like it would have been a more fruitful discussion to have that information ahead of time, just so we could be more prepared and have, like I said, a better discussion that night of. But still, good information. We'll see where that goes. Well, I think they're having another meeting in January, is what she said, so look forward to that.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Groders?
I had the opportunity to dish ice cream for all of our staff on Halloween, and that was a fun afternoon. Didn't have a lot of people dressed up, but it was great. I think everybody enjoyed it and had plenty of ice cream.
Awesome, thank you.
Just to piggyback on what Steve and Jessica said, had mobility and infrastructure, then had police and fire subcommittee, then had personnel committee, and those are all good meetings and moving in a good direction. Debbie, I just had one question. I know that we just did precincts for elections, but that precinct 6 trying to pull out onto Lake Michigan Drive at 5 o'clock, there was like a line of cars backed up. I was only a voter number 119. So I know that's not super busy that day, but the next elections are going to be even busier, and that is very difficult to pull out of, even right, because you can't see people coming up the hill.
Oh, yeah. Is that pulling onto Lake Michigan Drive? So if we reroute people behind, would that be to Kinney?
No, I'm at the Baptist church,
Oh, the Baptist church. Oh, okay.
because trying to turn either way was really difficult.
Yeah.
And I just know
I'd
it's,
be open to any
Yeah.
suggestions on solutions to that. The downfall to that ward is there are not a lot of locations to hold
Yeah.
an election that is large enough,
yeah,
especially for a presidential. So,
yeah. I just know it's going to be
Yeah.
having more issues if you can't even, like, we were
Yeah.
trying to turn right and we couldn't even turn right out. So,
Okay.
Could we maybe, because we have both parties in the room, our public services director and our police chief, to work on a plan, maybe to possibly alleviate potential issue next year on that?
I just know it's going to be even worse next year if we had not a huge turnout this year.
You'll figure something out, I'm not worried. Not tonight, not before next year.
All right, you got a couple months. I gave you a
Exactly.
couple months.
Okay,
Well, yeah, that was just my only thing. Thank you.
awesome. Commissioner Shane?
I'm all set.
All right. Mr. City Manager?
Just two quick things. November 24th, we'll be having our audit presentation by Breedeveld and Associates. So I'm not sure who will be here to present that, but think, pretty good news on the audit, but they'll do their typical presentation. I'm not sure if it'll be at 6:30 or 7, depending on what else we have going, but look for that. And then Scott made some reference to, Utility Advisory Board. We had a meeting last week where they presented the preliminary rates for next year for 2026. So for City of Walker, it looks very favorable for a change. A lot of the rates, there's a whole big study that Grand Rapids puts into their formula before they determine the rates, and a lot of that goes up or involves how much usage there is, what new lines are into the system, both sewer and water, a lot of that stuff. But our water rates are going to go up about 5% next year, and then our sewer rates are going to go down about 6%. So the net total for the average sewer and water customer will be a minus 0.5%, a little bit less than last year, which is kind of unheard of. The realm of utilities these days, but I think as Scott referred to, that there's been a lot of big projects at the UAB over the years, and we're finally realizing some of the efficiencies there, and they run a really tight ship at Grand Rapids, so in the utility department. So good news on sewer and water rates. If you want a presentation from Grand Rapids on how they do all that, they're certainly welcome to come out and talk to you. We did that a couple years ago, but with the rates being in such favorable, I mean, it's up to you guys. If you want to have a presentation, they're willing to come out and give you a high-level overview of how they determine the rates. So if you feel that's important, let me know. We can have them.
Would it be possible just to get like an email of some of the information? I just feel like I'm just personal interest, not necessarily of the need for a broader presentation.
I could see what they have. Wow, I don't know why there's so much feedback on this today. But they do have a very good summary online about how they determine their rates. I think even a video, but I'll certainly get you the numbers of what our rates are going to be, the exact numbers. I'm just kind of trying to go off memory from last week's meeting. But yeah, overall good news. So
It's great news.
good stuff, especially since some of the press communities about water rates being extremely high.
And we have had a number of improvements. I mean, that there's been cost investments made into it, and our rates are going the other way, so that's a positive there.
Yeah. And there's a lot of big system improvements, the whole biodigester down at the sewer plant and the water plant out at Lake Michigan. There's always millions and millions of dollars of improvements, but they spread that over all the users of the whole Grand Rapids system and all the community partners that they have. So shared cost by everybody, which makes it a little bit more tempered on our behalf. So that's all I have.
All right. The only two things I had that not already been discussed was I made a presentation or an update to the Friends of the Walker Library last week. They had asked, it's a sizable and active group. They were just wanting some updates, I think, from our perspective of what this looks like after it's open, and what involvement they can have, and even now then. So, and where's our public services director? I volunteered for a tour after the first of the year. Once we can get inside and it's winterized, so let them know that we'd be happy to take them through there. And then secondly, I want to thank both chiefs. Last week we had and Emily did a great job putting it all together for us for the Walker Pastors Network, kind of staying on a quarterly routine of those. Next one I think is February sometime, and then May, June, somewhere in there, and then the last one for me will be September. So you're always welcome to join. I highly encourage to join. We had a little bit smaller group this time, but still some really good discussion about various things within the community. And it's always, to me, it's a special part of what makes this community unique and great. So that being said, chiefs, anything for the good of the order? All right. All right, we have about 15 minutes. We're going to take a pause in the meeting here, and we'll pick back up right at 7 o'clock then. We stand adjourned for 15. All right, good evening, everyone. It is 7:01. We'll call our regular city commission meeting Monday, November 10th. It is 7:01. I'd like to invite Commissioner Chase to deliver invocation, lead us in Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Shall we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity for us to gather here tonight for the work of the community. As we begin this meeting, we ask for your guidance and wisdom. Help us to lead with integrity and make decisions that are positive to all who call the city home. We give thanks this month for the reminder of everything to be thankful for. Thankful for the changing seasons that are occurring, from the changing colors and falling leaves to the snow that came today. Thank you for all of our city staff who work hard on a daily basis to provide for our city and our community. In your name, amen.
Thank you. I'd like to invite everybody to stand and join us for Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. If I could please ask our clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Carey,
Present.
Commissioner Gilbert,
Present.
Commissioner Babcock,
Present.
Commissioner Groders,
Present?
Commissioner Chase,
Present.
Commissioner DeShane.
And I would look for a motion and support for the approval of Commissioner Burke's absence.
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner DeShane, Commissioner Gilbert, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you all. Next is the approval of minutes from the October 27, 2025 City Commission meeting. Is there any discussion on said minutes? Seeing, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
So moved?
Commissioner Groders,
Support.
Commissioner Babcock in support. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, we are good. First off, I'd like to welcome our Undersheriff, Brian Muir, sitting in the audience over to the left, and then I'll invite Chief Mankel and Captain Roon up from the Sheriff's Department. A little presentation on the Real-Time Intelligence Center. Welcome.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot to say. I'm just going to turn it over to Roon here, and he's going to explain the real-time intelligence center that Kent County's putting on. It's a collaboration that all the municipalities are doing, give you some information, a lot of good stuff on here. So that he's going to talk about what's going on at the Sheriff's Department. So.
Thanks very much for having us tonight. Want to introduce two more of our team members in the back. Lieutenant Bill Marks and Sergeant Ryan Dannenberg are also with us from the county. And I have to apologize for the little snafu in meeting location. That's squarely on my shoulders, and I'll hear about it for
We
a
just
long
blame it on
time.
Chief Mankel. It's good. Don't worry about it.
I tried. But this one's on me, so thank you for having us and for your patience tonight. So I want to talk about a concept tonight that we are working through on a countywide basis. It's a program that takes a lot of existing disparate technology and consolidates it into a single pane of glass to really optimize police response in Kent County. And we're proud to say that this involves every law enforcement agency in the county, including Walker. So this comes on the heels of a program in which we placed a police radio in every single physical school building, private and public, around Kent County. And we're very proud of this project. But it came in slightly under budget, and it kind of gave us the opportunity to revisit what school safety kind of 2.0 could look like. And really the answer to that question came in the form of tying in their school video feeds. As you can imagine, with several different types of systems out there, needing to talk to one law enforcement response system is a pretty complicated matter, but we're happy to say that the technology is finally to a place where we can do that at little to no cost to the school. Without getting too technical, we can essentially do that by placing a small device in the server room of the school, and we will ingest their feeds. This is all governed by a very strict MOU and FERPA laws. So really, it's an emergency-only access, and their studies have really shown that the ability to place emergency resources in the exact location that they're needed can expedite an emergency response in the event of a critical incident at a school. And we can really point to several catastrophic events at schools that really prove this theory out. So if we were to take that concept of tying in video feeds within schools, we can scale that out to the community. So much of what we're going to talk about tonight is really about existing technology that is in use currently in Kent County. The one piece that we're adding with the benefit of this technology is the ability to partner with the community. And by that, I mean we will be able to, with commercial partners, be able to ingest their camera feeds to gain that additional piece of situational awareness during an emergency response. So, is this my clicker here? Do I point this a certain direction? So this first slide is really kind of what we talked about. Modernizing critical incident response really is our current method of response, okay? So we're talking about, you know, kind of what is the problem that we're trying to solve? And that is currently the way that a call for service comes in is a person calls 911, it's received by a call taker who has to ingest that information, type it into a call, which is sent to a dispatcher, which is sent to an emergency responder, and then they go to the call. What we're talking about is the ability to have a person call 911, a call taker, send that person a link to their phone that says, show me what you're looking at, and then that person can live stream exactly what it is that they're looking at in real time, which allows for a level of precision that we've never seen before in law enforcement. And I think for context, it's important to note that there are hundreds of centers that are popping up around the country. And I think the latest registry is around 1,000 real-time crime centers are in operation currently around the United States. They really came to fruition through a lot of the civil unrest through the 2020 and on era. So we're kind of looking at this as the new neighborhood watch. It's a neighborhood watch that doesn't sleep, and the beauty of it is that every agency can ingest its own data into this system. So it's a county-wide system that will show every police officer, every police vehicle, and then it will have municipal infrastructure that's tied in, as well as commercial infrastructure that's tied in at the same time. I'm going to skip this next slide, which is a video that's about 3 minutes long. But I think it's worth teasing out a couple of things about the system. It comes at little to no cost to the resident or the business. It's essentially a cost that's covered through grants or philanthropic donations. And the only cost is really of the small core device that's used as a key to broadcast their stream to the cloud, which is where we go out and grab it with a program called Fusus. It is a very secure system, and what we love about it is the audit trail. So the audit trail actually records every single click inside the system. So one of the things that's come out of conversations and meetings like this is we've been very intentional about building a program that has very robust guardrails around it for use. We don't want to build something today that turns into something we never intended it to. And so we welcome the feedback from you all that can kind of help us keep those guardrails in place to make sure that the system is used responsibly. From the standpoint of control, it's as easy as unplugging. So if a business owner no longer wants to partner with us or a municipality, you unplug your box, you're out of the system. And I think what we like about that approach is that it's a level of trust that we need to earn every single day, right? So if we're showing up in the media for misuse of the system or for missteps with the system and people lose trust in us, the whole program falls flat. So we really just can't afford to do that. So it's a trust that we earn every single day. And additionally, it will offer some benefit to certain. A business can choose to subscribe into the system, which will allow them some additional benefit, including some functionality that's found in the software. They'll actually receive their own version of the software that they can use if they're not happy with their current system. It's just a nice little upgrade at a very low cost, but that's not a mandatory path that they have to take. Okay. So some benefits to the community. Stronger public safety. This is a situation that really takes all of the public safety entities in Kent County and it ties us together. What we've seen around the country in some places where maybe more well-funded communities will have a presence that pushes crime across jurisdictional lines, and we don't want that. We want to work together as a county-wide community that actually works together in force to not push crime across county lines, but to address it where it lies. The situational awareness, not only for the responding officers, but for the residents that are calling 911, is an additional benefit as well. We've seen examples where a person calls 911 and an operator can jump into, maybe it's public safety or traffic cameras in the area, and they say, yep, we see the subject you're talking about, he just went behind that building, providing that additional layer of situational awareness to residents as well as the responding officers. The data-driven investigations, one thing that came out of one of the county meetings that we held from a commissioner was he loved how accurate responding officers would be able to be. Currently, we respond to calls for service and we rely on descriptions. So we might be looking for a person wearing a set of clothing, and all we're doing is interpreting what we're seeing as we arrive and saying and asking ourselves, does that person potentially fit the bill? And then we will say yes or no and then address or make contact with that individual. The precision with which this technology allows us to respond to calls for service could say, here's this subject, we have them on this traffic camera, and then that image is displayed on every single responding officer's computer screen. They know exactly who they're looking for, they're not harassing people unnecessarily, and it allows for a lot more accurate investigations. And lastly, this is a force multiplier. I think we would all agree we're kind of past the days of just throwing bodies at problems. In Kent County, at least, I can tell you it takes 5 physical bodies to add one 24-hour car for service. And that's just not a way that we can logically scale our services to cover every single problem. So we need to be smarter about how we use technology while being responsible at the same time to multiply our footprint. So when we talk about precision policing or allocating resources precisely, a very simple example might be this. You know, we all use license plate readers in Kent County. The difference is now we can potentially have a camera downstream from a license plate reader, so if a stolen vehicle drives past that plate reader, hits on that plate reader, we can essentially say, well, we have a camera downstream that the car is seen on, but the next camera downstream, it's not seen on. There's this neighborhood in between those two cameras. Let's go check those areas. It's much different than canvassing square miles for the very same purpose. Readiness and response. This program will also have the ability to ingest various weather sensors as well. So I can tell you, like Spokane, Washington uses this technology for monitoring of traffic barricades when they're experiencing their wildfires. So if a vehicle disregards a barricade and goes up a mountain where they shouldn't be, they can make a mental note of that, or they can pre-stage resources to go and potentially conduct a rescue. So specifically, what is the technology we're talking about? So we're talking about community shared video streams, and again, these are businesses only. The residents, on the residential side, they will have the ability to register their cameras. It doesn't give us the ability to see their cameras, but we can, with their partnership, they can register their camera, so they say, I have a Ring doorbell camera, I'm willing to check it for you if there's a need. So if we have that rash of larcenies from vehicles that happens in a neighborhood, we can, from our real-time intelligence center, from anywhere actually that has the internet, send a batch message to all of the neighbors in that residential area and say, we're looking for a white sedan at this date, this time, in response to a larceny from auto. Can you please check your camera? If you see it, clip your footage and upload it to this link. And instantly we'll be able to receive upload links from the residents. When we talk about the streams coming in from the community on the commercial side, we are not talking about a lengthy retention. We're talking about 1 to 3 days. So there is a little retroactive ability to rewind and see something that happened in the past, but it's not a 30-day retention. It's not even a 10-day retention. We're talking 1 to 3. And the reason that's a range is because depending on the number of streams that are being ingested, that can impact kind of what that retention is. But generally speaking, we're going to have 24 hours to up to 3 days to look in the past. So where do we see this having relatively instant impact? Obviously, your public spaces, your walking trails. We've actually seen survey data, in Atlanta, where residents were actually changing up their exercise routes to include areas where they knew that there were publicly monitored cameras. So they were actually like seeking out these areas where they knew there were police cameras, which is contrary to, I think, what a lot of us believe sort of inherently. There's another survey out there that refers to the schools that says that it was a campus security survey. It was of 1,000 parents, and of those 1,000 parents, 960 of them supported the sharing of video streams with the police in an emergency. Business districts are pretty obvious. Certain living areas as well, and of course there's the major infrastructure being installed downtown. I'm gonna, in the interest of time, move through these rather quickly. I will mention the MSU shooting that happened a few years back that killed 3 and wounded 5. There was an after-action report that actually gave pretty high praise to Michigan State for their response. They did not have a real-time intelligence center at the time, and they did not have the technology that we're talking about tonight. They had disparate systems, so they had separate logons for certain video streams. They had different keys for different doors. There were a lot of hurdles that they had to overcome, and even with 70 agencies responding to that call, it took several hours and approximately 4 miles away from campus before the subject was eventually located. One of the actually top 3 recommendations was that they get this technology and operate it, or make it operational, which it is today. And then there were some communication recommendations as well. New Orleans, if we look back at the January attack of the truck driving down Bourbon Street, I would argue that the ability of New Orleans PD to communicate as quickly and as effectively as they could is because they could retrace that truck's path through the city in a matter of minutes, not even hours. And they were able to identify potential explosive devices that were left along the way very, very quickly. So rendered the city much safer, much more quickly than otherwise would have been able. Miami, Florida, there is finally some data coming out about real-time crime centers and the ability to respond in real time using this technology. Miami, Florida saw a 48% greater chance of arrest when biological evidence was collected and there was crime center involvement. Additionally, they saw a 68% greater chance of arrest when physical evidence was collected and there was crime center involvement, and then an overall 66% greater chance of arrest with crime center involvement. And last one I'll mention here is just some really encouraging data that's come out of San Francisco, and this is just in 2024. San Francisco received $9 million from a philanthropist, and they went kind of full throttle on implementation to just clean up some of the issues they were having, and they saw a 42% drop in auto theft in 24, a 28% in overall crime, and they were tracking a 30% drop in crime in Q1 of this year. And their district attorney, who initially was not incredibly supportive, actually has come full circle. Okay. And with that, normally we would move into a live demo. I do want to invite you all to join us at some point. We will be hosting some open houses at the Intelligence Center, which is on the Sheriff's Office campus. Additionally, the software is going to be made available to Chief Mankel and his team. So you can, you will be able to see what the software looks like remotely, but we would love for you to come by and jump on a tour. And I think Sergeant Dannenberg is going to show us what part of this technology looks like in the drone as first responder space. And Ryan, do you want to talk about what what this technology is and what it looks like?
So I just went into Skydio Cloud. Thank you. So this is a remote flight deck for a drone-in-a-box solution, a DFR. So this is their Skydio X10 dock. I'm gonna go ahead and hit fly now, and it'll bring us right into that system. But this is one of the more interesting parts and exciting parts of the technology that we can ingest right into that Fusus platform that the captain was talking about. And then right within this map, I can see a couple of our deputies right here along division. This is on the south end of our county. You can see that the lid of the drone dock is lifting up, and I can right away say, hey, I want to support what's ever going on right here. Hit fly now, and then launch the drone. We've obtained an FAA waiver that allows us to fly at 200 feet beyond visual line of sight. This drone has great sensors on it. It has thermal sensor, great camera on it, zoom, all those things, and it can automatically take off. I just got an alert on my watch from that Fusus system that said, hey, a drone just launched. So anybody who's logged into that Fusus platform, we talk about kind of a single pane of glass, the ability to integrate all this data and get it out to the people who need it. They'll get an alert, and they can have this drone feed right into our real-time intelligence center and to anybody else who's logged on to Fusus. So
I would add as well, you can see that it says Connor Yinker was a body camera image that was on the previous screen. That actually, it does show officers in the field that are annotated on the map. And those officers actually, if they're ever in trouble, can hit a certain button on their body camera, and it will actually launch the nearest drone to come over their location to get eyes on them to help everyone else understand what's happening.
and as we're flying there, you can see in this view here, it has all of the addresses and all of the street names annotated right on the screen there. That's newer technology. That's something that we didn't have before. So before I was trying to count house numbers, like, okay, I think it's 3 houses in from the corner. Now I can just tell somebody, hey, at 252 Market Street, your suspect just ran past that address. So to be able to get that information out to people on the ground quickly, something I'm very excited about. You see the thermal imaging there as well. And then, like I said, zoom camera, all that. Very, very useful. We've had quite a few wins with this technology already. Being able to, see a CAD call drop, type in the notes that, hey, the drone's en route. I'm not hogging up airtime or anything like that. They know that that support is coming, and then help out with that situation. And then once I'm done with that flight, I can just hit return and land in the dock, and now it's going to fly itself back to where it took off from, land directly in that drone dock, and charge up for the next flight.
And this is all flying over 5G cell signal, so really our biggest limitation at this point is battery life. We can fly, we've done as much as about an 8-mile round trip flight, but yeah, the battery technology is our limitation really at this point. Did you have any Fusus stuff or no?
I can, absolutely. So while this is returning back, I can jump into Fusus here, and it'll probably give me an alert, or I can at least jump into that drone feed as well.
So this is actually the map that we're referring to, the single pane of glass, right? The ability to view disparate systems in a single program without navigating away. So this is kind of like a Swiss Army knife of software. So what we're looking at here is you can see on the map there are green triangles. Those green triangles represent calls for service, and this is live data. This is not canned demonstration data. So you're looking at live data. Every one of those blue badges is a physical police car on the street. You can see the drone indicated on the dock there. You can see the body cam icons as well. For the sake of it being a public meeting, I don't want to go into specific floor plans necessarily of certain businesses, but we do, can you just show them like what go to like 17th Circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can type right in the search bar, 17th. It's going to pop up my locations. I can go to that circuit courthouse, and there it will tell me it can spring up floor plans automatically, and you can see a bunch of the camera feeds as well.
This is obviously a public building, and you can see that the camera icons are actually annotated on the map, which actually, if we were to pull up those feeds, it would populate a string of thumbnails, and if what you're looking for is on one of those thumbnails, by mousing over it, it draws a direct line to the camera that's pointing at it. So it theoretically, not theoretically, in practice, it gives someone who's never set foot in a location the ability to direct officers to a situation, which is a feature that we love. Can you show them the audit?
So there's that audit trail. So like I said, I've been logged in this system. I've just been clicking around in it right now, you know, looking at that map, and you can see already right at the top, it's got that I logged in, that I updated the screen, that I went to a live view of the 17th Circuit Court. It has all those things in this system already. So already it's tracking every time I click within this system. So completely transparent audit trail. If I click into a camera, it's recording it. And it gives me the ability to also add like an incident number or notes as well to not only, you know, will it track that, but I can annotate that further to say, hey, this is why I was in that camera. So if a school or business or another entity wonders, hey, why was somebody accessing my cameras, or can you look up and see who was, they have that information. I can go back and tell them exactly why that camera was entered as well.
On that note, if a business who's chosen to partner has a question like, you know, hey Captain, you just tell us how many times you were in our cameras in the last 30 days. That's a report we can run, just for transparency's sake, to say, well, it looks like we touched them 6 different times and they line up with these 6 calls for service. This is not a program that's being built to serve cameras by any means. It's just not that kind of system. This is response-based, and it's got to be call for service based for us to access these feeds. And generally speaking, I think this is an important distinction to make. We're not asking for interior cameras. This is like exterior cameras that face public areas, like the roadway. So if you think about where a police officer could place their boots without violating any civil liberties, those are the areas that we're talking about. There are certain locations that tend to like interior cameras monitored. A lot of 24-hour convenience stores who have employees that deal with certain situations overnight, they love the idea of sharing interior cameras. Banks also generally will share interior cameras. And this is just what we're seeing in some of the other cities around the country. All right, thanks, Chief. Are there any questions from the board that we can?
Commissioners, questions, comments? Commissioner Gilbert?
I just have a couple of quick ones. So you talk about the 1 to 3 day retention of data. Is that just as you're reviewing clips, or is that like if you find something that could be considered evidence on a clip, do you have the ability to then retain that and turn that into, I guess, a longer term piece of information that you can maintain access to?
Yeah, great question. So the 1 to 3 day retention actually exists on the core, and I apologize for not bringing one with me, but it's a small black computer, and essentially that 1 to 3 day retention exists physically on that device. Now, if a crime is committed and there's a piece of footage that's of interest for a case investigation, I can clip that and then I upload it to our digital evidence manager. So that goes to evidence.com, which is the one we use through Axon, and then the everything else falls off the back end of the core.
I have one more. Just my curiosity is I'm kind of thinking of the jurisdictional lines on it. Would like MSP have access to the intelligence center? Is that kind of shared information? Should they be responding to a situation here?
So it gets a little trickier with state and federal agencies. This is really a tool that we are providing access to the local agencies. The state and federal agencies, certainly we cooperate with and help with their investigations upon request, but we are not planning at this point to credential any state employees.
I like the fact that you can speak with data with this. And how long do you store it, or do you just
How long do we store the?
like all the films and such? Does it rotate itself out, or?
Yeah, great question. So the evidentiary data that is downloaded and collected is just subject to our normal retention schedule that we use under FOIA. So if it's let's say a misdemeanor arrest, it might have a 6-month retention, then it'll fall off. Yep. But but we have to physically manually take that clip and put it in our evidence management system, and then it's subject to those retention schedules. Everything on the core is erased after 1 to 3 days.
Understood, thank you. This is great.
All right. Anything, Chief, anything else? Perspective?
No, I just think it changes what we do.
Yeah.
The five officers for one shift, and stuff like that. It's a game changer when law enforcement has changed over time.
And I think no mistake, it's just kind of that Walker way. Something like this, not only does it make our residents and our businesses safer, it makes our officers safer as well. So we're all about that, and just grateful to be a partner in the program. So where's Sergeant? He was hiding someplace. Thank you for coming. Lieutenant, thank you in the background. Captain, Sheriff, thank you very much for making the time over. So we're good to go then. Awesome, thank you. Oh, yeah.
No, I just want to thank you guys again. The precision that this tool allows for is incredible, and what this will mean to the profession moving forward. I thank you for all the work on it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Excited to report back.
Right. All right. Next on the list is public comment on agenda items for our attendees. Is there anybody wishing to speak on agenda items only? Tell you what, we'll get to the non-agenda items in just a second then. All right, next on the list is consent agenda expenditures in the amount of $1,133,444.79. We have the DTE easement that we discussed earlier over by Harmon Park, and the Collindale and O'Brien pump station easement. If there's no discussion on any of the items, I'll entertain a motion for approval and support, please.
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Chase?
Support.
Commissioner Babcock? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, consent agenda is passed. Other public comment, agenda items or non-agenda items only. I saw a hand come up back there. Come on up, and if you'd just speak into the microphone clear, better than my voice, and just state your name for the record for us, please, and you have the floor. Yes.
My name is Denise Church.
Good.
I am a resident of Walker in the Indian Mill condo development, which is just off 3 Mile, not too far from that railroad track that goes over 3 Mile. And we had a condo meeting in September. And I just asked the board if I could bring up a question, and they said sure. My question was, is anyone else having trouble with the traffic? Is anyone else feeling unsafe coming and going from home? And I couldn't believe the response I got. Everybody wanted to come with me tonight. After talking to Tom Burke on the phone, he suggested that I just bring a couple of people though, and I've got some residents here with me tonight.
Welcome.
We have a lot of concerns about 3 Mile. There's a few people that believe that, it's all will go away when they open up Fruit Ridge. But these concerns were there before they ever started that construction. And even today, I had trouble trying to leave my residence. The concerns of 3 Mile, partially, I believe, is that it's very mixed as far as being residential and commercial. The residential is kind of unseen because you've got Royal Vista Apartments, you've got Indian Mill Creek, you've got a lot of people who live down Elm Ridge. They're all coming out onto 3 Mile. And that doesn't even include Kinney and all that stuff down there. So we're sort of an unseen factor. We're easy to kind of forget about. We're quiet. We don't make a lot of fuss. But the concerns we've got mostly is the speed of the cars that are going down 3 Mile. You've got 45 miles an hour down by the schools on the other east of Walker. It goes up to 50 by Meyer, and then I think it drops down again after Kinney maybe, back down to 45. If people would just do those speeds, it would be helpful. but they're basically, it's a drag race out there. They're doing 60, they're doing 70. I had such a fearful, I was turning right out of it, which meant I was heading towards the bridge, heading towards Walker, and I had someone come up on me so fast, I had to stop my car right in the middle of the road and allow him to get around me because he was gonna pass me, and because there's a car coming under the bridge. It's just really dangerous. So another big fear we have, and we've done a survey. The board put a survey out, and I can give you copies of this survey of what the residents, this is just now Indian Mill, but I think if I went over to Royal Vista, they'd probably be on the same page. Getting hit from behind. I'm sitting there on the left lane, and I'm like, look, all I can do is look in my rear view mirror. I still have to look forward to see when can I turn, but really I'm looking in the rear view mirror because somebody's gonna be on their phone or changing the radio station or something, and I'm gonna get hit from behind. That's been a big concern. That'll show up on the survey. It's hard for cars, and if it's hard for cars, I've sat there and watched trucks try to get out. I don't know how long they're sitting there. This is our community. We want the industry to feel welcome. And if they can't get their trucks in and out, then, you know, they're gonna move. And so are the residents. So originally, my idea was, you know what we need? We need a light at Elm Ridge. And when I came over a month or two ago trying to figure out how I approach this commissioners and stuff, I ran into one of the engineers, and he was really nice. I don't know if it was Scott or which one it was, but he told me what meeting I should come to and blah, blah, blah. But he said that they'd already had addressed Elm Ridge, and that the plan was that they were going to, there wasn't enough room to do a light, and I'm not an engineer. I don't know what that means. All I know is we need a light. So let's make some room. But the plan was to make a right turn lane and a left turn lane. No light, nothing. And it's like, well, I guess that would help a little bit. But, so a light at Elm Ridge is a suggestion. And then my other thought was, well, what we really need is we need 5 lanes. We need a center turn lane on 3 Mile. And I'm like, how are we gonna do that? There's curbs. Who put these curbs in? Anyways, then I had an epiphany driving down Burton, bringing my grandchild home from school. What we need is a 3-lane road, a center turn lane, an east and a west, and if there's extra room, let's put in a bike lane. Because if you can't do a bike lane, then we need a sidewalk all the way down. We got a bus route on 3 Mile now. And these people are standing in the weeds up to their knees, waiting for the bus. I mean, it's just like half done, just halfway done. So, personally, I think that if by doing a 3-lane road, you would automatically have to lower the speed limit to probably 35. And that, then you don't need a light at Elm Ridge, I don't know. But I don't know if you're interested. I've got a copy for each of you for what our survey talked about and how people answered it.
If you could, actually, if you would mind, we'll take just one. Okay. Madam Clerk, if you would scan in an email to the commission. Perfect. Just from a public information piece. It's little, we check some boxes there.
And I know these things take time.
Yeah.
But I just hope we don't have to have accidents before, have people injured or loss of life before something happens.
Well, when we're close to adjourning the meeting, when we're done, we'll exchange some information. I'll arrange a time with the Our public services director is also currently our city engineer.
Okay.
To sit down with, may involve police chief or somebody designate from the police department to talk through that. I think there's some things, one of the comment, and I'm going off, the commission indulges me for a minute. Usually we do public comment. It's like public comment, not public dialogue. Like the speed limit piece, we don't set that. That's set by the state levels, and fortunately, hands are a bit tied. That being said, I've had a close friend that's been in a very significant accident at that intersection, and I know that's why we're widening Elm Ridge coming up into there, but that still doesn't alleviate the concerns you have. So I understand where you're coming from
Okay.
and the speed and the visibility, but there's maybe some suggestions we can take and bring even to the traffic committee as a first step, and then kind of take steps from there. But I do want to hear your voices being very much heard from up here.
Okay.
And we'll follow up, but we should be a few more minutes, and I'll catch you right afterwards, if
Very
that
good.
sounds good.
Yep, thank you,
All right,
Mayor.
thank you, Ms. Church, you bet.
You bet.
Anybody else for public comment, agenda or non-agenda items only? Or I'm sorry, either one of them? Nobody? All right, that's that, commissioners, Madam Clerk, real quick, anything else coming around? All right, we stand adjourned, and as it stands now, I'm gonna quick double check with the commission. City manager and I spoke a little while ago. We were talking about keeping the meeting schedule. December, we sometimes change those dates because of the Christmas holiday. Right now, we're slated for December 8th and the 22nd. I don't think we have anything significant for the 22nd, but there's, not to say something couldn't come up. So if it pleases the commission, thinking of actually keeping the 8th and the 22nd as is right now. I know one of us will be
Yes, Madam Clerk, I
Will
will be
be,
unavailable on the 22nd.
occupied with a addition to the family at that point, but nonetheless, for the rest of the commission, are we good on the 22nd? Okay, and we've already spoke. So, Madam Clerk, we'll keep the 8th and the 22nd for December as it stands now. If there's nothing good for the good in order, we'll just take a motion and support for adjournment, please.
I'll make a motion.
Mayor DeShane, Commissioner Gilbert, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you.
I have Meyer.